5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is Shot 30 Podcast, and I am Shayne Neubert. And today I have, probably now my favorite human being in the world in the studio, Mr. Ken Versluis of Bone Collector in Viola, Illinois. Ken, are you a pit boss or a pit master? Don't be shy.
Nah, you know what? I'm kind of, when it comes to the pit master thing, I am a master of my pits that I have. It's kind of like when people call themselves a chef.
Absolutely.
You know, it comes with there's a lot of stuff that comes with it. Mm-hmm. And I guess people would consider me a pit master.
Oh, yeah. I already knew.
You know, I kind of, I said, I'm a little bit, just those labels and that. I like I said,
totally
of my smokers and that, yep, I'm the master of them. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, we are going to get rocking down every single loophole with everything that you do and have done. But first of all, I want to say Shot 30 Podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, iTunes, and YouTube if you're just listening on one of the apps. Okay, so first of all, when did you start the name Bone Collector? Because it's a badass name.
Well, it was kind of funny because when I first started in competition barbecue 11 years ago, I guess, my team name was Baby Got Back Barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Baby Got Back, and a buddy of mine in Des Moines, who we'll probably talk about him a little bit later, he's an artist. Mm-hmm. And he came up with a sexy pig, with the back of it, the little strap on the thing was popped.
It looks so good.
And I still have a Facebook page for that, and it's kind of funny because I still get likes on it all the time. Uh-huh. And then when I don't know, something hit me, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I go into catering.
Oh, this is your old.
That was my original
I gotcha.
team name. And when I started thinking about doing the catering and stuff, I'm like, Baby Got Back with the logo. It just wasn't real. I thought it could be taken, differently. Mm-hmm. And so that's when talking with my buddy in Des Moines again, and he's like, what about Bone Collector? Like, like bones, rib bones or trophies, you collect, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's run with it. Oh. So we did. And then he actually did my logo, the pig, and
it's absolutely awesome. If you guys can't see the logo, let's see if we hit the light right. There we go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. So, yeah, and it's been,
So, okay, now, I think it's fascinating, first of all, is there a second, barbecue team real close to here? Is that Team Apple Smoke?
Apple Smoke, Jason Waits.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and he's the one that's helped me at the restaurant. He's been the guy has been in kitchens, a chef, for years. Mm-hmm. And he, right down the street on the corner here, the old pizza joint. Yep. He was in there doing Apple Smoke barbecue for a while. And he's been off of work because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And I got a hold of him because I knew he knew how to run kitchens, everything.
Yeah,
and he's
a good asset.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do this. So.
And now, okay, so with COVID, I know you had just started, you had just bought the restaurant not so long back. Yep. Now, did COVID shut you down, or were you not really open for anything? I know you do a lot of catering and stuff like that.
Right. And, it's kind of funny how the restaurant came about. I worked in the sheet metal union for almost 28 years.
Oh, really? For what company?
Service guy, Gabrielson's Heating and Air. Yeah. And
I work for Premier Insulation.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm an estimator.
So I don't know, the being on call all the time and everything, it just got to me, and I wasn't quite to retirement age, but I thought I got to do something else. So I actually did property management for about a year and a half in town, and
I can't stop looking.
Quit that.
I can't stop looking at it. I just can't stop looking at it. Yeah. I got to put one in my mouth here real quick.
So then I did that for about a year and a half, and I'm like, I'm going to go catering and vending full time. So I get that reaction once in a while.
Well, we would have had a whole platter of orders 2 weeks ago when we found out that you guys were there. you guys had taken over Luby's.
Yeah.
And we started calling. Sold out. I was like, what? Okay, I'll just call tomorrow. Sold out. I was like, no.
Oh, yeah. It's been crazy, but I was sitting at home in July and had to run uptown for something, Dollar General or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I go by and I know Trina and Craig Luby. Mm-hmm. And I went by and I looked over there and there was a for sale sign. I'm like, what? So I called the realtor, who I also knew. And she's like, yeah. She goes, and she told me the price, and I'm like, oh boy. So I went home and I talked to my wife.
And they just renovated the place too. So
they did.
Like, yeah.
They put so much money into the place. You know,
it really fits your title though now
does.
too. It
and
really.
I told Trina, I don't know how many times, I'm like, you know, it looks like you could do barbecue in this place. You know,
all that metal siding inside the building.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I talked to my wife and she's like, well, you really can't beat, you know, the price, and everything came with it, all the equipment and everything. And next thing I know, I'm the only idiot that buys a restaurant during a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I thought when I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And and I'm like, what did I just do? You know, and I was lucky enough that, and, you know, small businesses, especially restaurants and bars, are struggling right now. Mm-hmm. I was extremely lucky because I did very well in the sheet metal union and mm-hmm. stuff like that I was able to buy the restaurant outright. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a lot of the bills, the mortgages and stuff like that a lot of restaurants and bars do. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got my utilities, my overhead with the payroll and stuff like that. So, yeah, and it's that was July 21st I bought it.
Well, I can tell you, first of all, it's extremely popular around here so far, and I mean it's only growing. You know, people aren't even fully getting out again yet. I mean, even after Pritzker today and the new orders today, but between that and the word getting out about the catering and stuff, like there's a lot of small towns around here, and it just allows you to do nothing but grow. And it seems like you do well with deliveries and cooking and sending out, correct?
Well, right now everything is pre-order and pick up. And hey, cheers. And we haven't started doing the deliveries yet, but I'm going to I think Thursday is going to be, I've got several companies around that want lunches and stuff mm-hmm. like that.
Oh, that's smooth.
And I'm still doing some of the catering stuff. I've kind of knocked off on that a little bit just because it takes, you know, so much mm-hmm. time, and right now everything I'm consumed with the restaurant, and I've never been in a restaurant business
I can tell you right now, I can't even hear you right now. I swear to you, that is so good. Oh, okay.
I appreciate it.
No, I'm back in. I'm back in.
So yeah, everything right now, and I'm only open on the weekends. Like mm-hmm. I said, I'm hoping to add more days for lunch and stuff during the week. COVID is really kind of dictating what I'm doing right mm-hmm. now, and right now the weekends, and I feel bad because I'm selling out every weekend within hours. Uh-huh. I mean, and I feel bad for people that drive. I've had people from DeWitt, Muscatine, you know, I always call ahead to mm-hmm. make sure before
because you have to turn them away.
Yeah. You know, I had a guy Sunday when we closed, about a half hour afterwards, my wife and Jason and I were sitting up front, and a car pulled in and came up the door and had the sold out sign. And he's like, and I could see him, I'm trying to hide, you know, a little bit. And I could see him look at it, and he had just deflated. Well, he gets in his car and he pulls out Scott County plates. And I'm like, the guy, you know, drove from somewhere in Iowa, you know, and, but every week I tell people every week I'm upping my orders on ribs, brisket, you know, chicken, turkey.
And as you get into more of a flow and you're like, as the environment becomes more your own, like in that restaurant and with the people you're working with, I mean, everything will start moving quicker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've got an Old Hickory CTO DW, they call it, which is a smoker I'm using.
Oh, I thought that was like a Star Wars character.
Yeah, well, it sounds pretty much like it. It could be if you dress that thing up a little bit.
Give it a couple lights.
And I'm at the point where I thought there's no way I'm going to outgrow this thing right now. A small town,
A very small town.
Yeah.
But the promise is, there's so many other towns around.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's very unique.
Yeah. And so this week I'm bringing up, I've got a gravity feed smoker that I built when I was doing competition barbecue, and I'm bringing it up. And that one, 7 racks in it, and I've got a lot of capacity. So I'm bringing that up here this week to help with the volume.
Where do you get do you get your meat from a local, meat department, well, I don't know why the word slipped my brain. It's probably the food. But butcher?
No, right now I've been getting almost all of my stuff through PFG and Cisco.
What's that?
PFG is Performance Food Group. They supply a lot of restaurants and stuff like that, and they have many different, and Cisco's the same way.
Is that like a local thing?
PFG's out of Rock Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Cisco's out of Lincoln, Illinois.
Okay.
And but PFG carries many different brands of products. Like on my brisket, I'm only using prime briskets for the burn ins and the slice stuff. And
you mean for the magic? That's magic.
They carry the prime for me, and it's a company that I used when I was in competition. And the same way with the ribs, I used Allegiance brand ribs. And
so you grow familiar to that.
Right. I knew they were quality. I didn't have to worry about it,
So how long have you actually been in competition for?
It's been about 11 years, and it's kind of a funny story how it started. A buddy of mine in Des Moines that did my logo, he called me one day and he goes, "Hey, I'm buying a stump smoker." And I'm like, and I've always done grilling and smoking and stuff like that, but I've always used like the Brinkman or the Weber round.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I'm like, "What's a stumps?" And he sent me the link to it, and I got on and looked at it, and I called him back and I said, "You're an idiot. Why are you buying this high dollar gravity feed cabinet smoker for your garage?" And he's like, "I just want one." So he bought it. I went out there a couple weeks later after he got it, and I started messing around with it a little bit. And I'm like, so he was actually looking for a cover for his, and one of the dealers was down in St. Louis at a barbecue store. So he called him and he asked him, he said, "Well, what do you guys have in stock?" And he goes, "Well, we're clearancing out right now because Stumps went in with Viking range and, the real expensive Viking stuff, all stainless steel."
Yeah, oh yeah.
So they had to get rid of what they had in stock. Well, they had the GF222P model, which is what my buddy bought.
The R2.
Yeah, the R2. Yeah, and he called me up and he goes, "Hey, they're clearancing these things out." And I know what he paid for his. And it was like half price.
Ooh.
And I'm like, "Really?"
Kind of like that booze and Viola I just told you.
Exactly. 2 days later, I'm driving to St. Louis to buy this thing. Now, it's a 600-pound gravity smoker. I mean, it's not, it's big. And I think my wife said the same thing. "You're an idiot. Why are you buying it?" Well, then once I got it, really started getting into the barbecue stuff, and then I started getting online, and it's called the Barbecue Brethren, and it was a really popular web page.
So
it's like a talk forum.
It's a frat for
Yeah,
barbecue
exactly.
guys.
Yeah, so I got on there. Well, then a lot of competition guys on there. Kind of got to know a lot of them. Got a little interested in it, and then the first contest I did, I believe, was the old Kewanee Hog Fest.
Oh,
Hog Days.
I'm from Kewanee.
Okay,
oh, I know Hog Days real well.
Yep. So there was a guy, Kyle Engstrom, was part of putting this thing on, and I thought, I'll go and try it. Tried the first contest, and honestly, I don't have a big story where I went in there and I won the thing. I didn't. I did well. But I'm like, okay, now I've got to do better, and it just kind of fueled the fire.
See, that's the thing that I love. I love when people are in here, that type of story all the time. It's people either love it, even if I won or not, they love it and they keep going, or it's just done.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just done.
you become obsessed. I became obsessed with it. You know, I really did. I mean, every weekend I was practicing. I was, you know, taking as much information as I could offline and off the forums and that. And I still wasn't where I thought I need. I mean, good product for eating barbecue, but competition barbecue is a whole different level, especially when you get into the KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Society, the pro ranks. I went from Kiwani, didn't do a lot of small backyard stuff. I jumped right into the pro stuff.
Yeah, you were ready to rock.
You know, and I think I did 2 of them, and kind of, I don't know language-wise, but kind of got my ass handed to me.
Oh, there's no language barrier on this. Not at all.
Yeah. And I did. I was like, holy cow, these guys must be doing something totally different than what I'm doing. I kind of got to be friends with a guy out of Chicago named Scotty Johnson. His team was Cancer Sucks Chicago. His wife passed away of breast cancer, and he started the team up. And this guy has won like everything, the Jack Daniels Invitational, you know.
That's where you need to win right
I
there.
would love to. Yeah, I would love to.
I've
been trying, but you have to actually win a grand championship, and then you're invited to it. And I've had reserves. I've had, you know,
the Shot 30 Grand Championship has already been won.
Right,
dude.
So I told my wife one night he started doing competition classes, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah, and everything went. He had a 501c3 nonprofit.
Yeah,
you know, and everything that he did in the class, the entry fee went to this nonprofit. So of course I'm thinking, well, I get to
for the Cancer Foundation.
For the cancer.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh yeah, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's $500 or $600 for this 2-day class. But I get to claim it on my taxes, you know, because it's a donation, more or less.
Yeah.
And I went and took it, and I got there early, got a seat right up front, you know, had my notepads and everything, and started the class, and I'm like, holy cow, I am so far off from what competition barbecue is. Did that class. I went... I think the next weekend Peoria had a rib contest, and they had an amateur and a pro division. Well, the pro division was only for restaurants and stuff like that. So I do the amateur. Well, what they did was you had an amateur winner, a pro winner, and then they did an overall grand. So I went down there. I had my little trailer with my stumps on.
This is your victory story, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I can see it in your eyes. It's your victory story.
This is what got me. So I go down there, and I pull in there, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, you know, and had my stumps on the back of the trailer. Didn't even take it off the trailer. Just climbed up there every time I had to do my ribs or whatever. And go to the awards that afternoon, and I actually had to borrow my dad's truck to pull my trailer and smoker down there. And go to the awards. Amateur, they go through like third through first. And first place, Baby Got Back. That was, you know, the team named them. Like, wow. You know? Oh, yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, there's no way I'm going to get overall because I'm going against these restaurants and stuff like that. Well, then they go through the pro side, and then they do the overall. And I got talking to a few guys down there, and I met some really good friends that I'm still friends with at that contest. And we get to the overall grand stuff, and it's like, Baby Got Back. And I'm like,
you know,
that's me.
I saw this in your face the whole time. Man, you literally... okay, so you got to realize, with that mic in front of people, I see people's eyes a lot.
Right.
And they, like, tell me a story, and your eyes were, like, gleaming that whole time you started that story.
That was the moment that I was hooked. You know, and the trophy's up there in the restaurant right now. It's a cool, it's not crystal, but it's a clear plastic thing. It's all engraved. It sits on a light base with an LED light, you know, and it
stands out.
Oh yeah, you know, and that light never shuts off. When it burns out, I'm going to have to figure out how to replace the LED in it, because that was my moment. And from then I took the class from Scotty in February. I think that contest was in April. And then I did my first pro KCBS contest in Memorial Day weekend out in Des Moines. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other story, but I get out there and I'm following my notes and everything. Now I'm up against big guys, top teams in the country, that travel every weekend, and in KCBS contests you do chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. And so
Wait, you say chicken? Oh, chicken ribs.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
so there's a comma there.
Yeah, chicken,
like, what do we do
ribs.
with chicken ribs here?
Right. Yeah, you got to be real careful. They're easy to overcook. They dry out pretty fast.
In about 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah. So I went out there and I got in this and, again, pulled up my little trailer, and I had 2 easy-up pop-up tents. And I'm looking at these guys that have $30,000-$40,000 rigs.
Oh yeah,
and they're smoking on these machines, and I'm like, someday maybe. I ended up second in chicken. Ribs killed me for some reason. I was top 10 in the 3 categories. Ribs, out of 60 teams, I was like 51st in ribs. So I don't know what happened there, But I walked away from that contest first place chicken was $600 to win, and then I got, pork, I think I had 10th, and brisket I had 8th. So I walked away from this contest with like $800, and I'm like, when you do a KCBS contest, your entry fee is minimum $250. Mm-hmm. The meat that you buy to feed 6 judges, I cook 4 racks of ribs, 4 pork butts, 16 to 20
you're already
chicken
looking
thighs.
At a couple $100.
Every contest is going to cost you, if it's local, it'll cost you probably $700. Mm-hmm. If you got to travel, now you got that included. So you're looking $700 to $1,000 per contest. So it's not a cheap endeavor, and I would try to do one a month during the summer. Sometimes I couldn't. But I always did well at the KCBS contest just after that first class that I took.
Did you happen to ever do the one in Matherville? They had one for a foundation.
And that was Jason Waits that put that on.
Yeah, because I can't remember as a little kid who had leukemia, I think it was, and
I think that was, and I might be wrong, and he'll
we're
correct
talking
me tomorrow.
Years ago,
but I think that was a relative of his, of Jason's, and for some reason, I almost think I was at a KCBS contest that weekend. Because I did show up here that night and had some libations, but and talk, because I knew most of the guys that were in it. Mm-hmm. But I think I was at a KCBS contest because most of those are Friday night, Saturday, then you come home.
It was pretty cool because you got to remember it was in my front yard.
Exactly. They were lined up down the street. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to get this out of here real quick. Shot 30 Podcast is sponsored by Mrs. Newby's Cakes and Cookies. Visit Mrs. Newby's Cakes and Cookies for the most beautiful, custom-made decorative delights for any certain holiday, birthday, anything that you need. Put an order out. Give her about a week, and she will take care of you. Anything that you can possibly imagine. Visit Mrs. Newby's Cakes and Cookies on Facebook and Instagram today. Check out her new cocoa bombs. They're selling out like crazy. Those are like the little cocoa. They're like a cocoa ball that you dump in a hot chocolate and then it
melt.
turns.
Those are awesome looking.
Yeah, she's killing it with those. And also, Shot 30 Podcast is sponsored by Handmade by Haley. Handmade by Haley's coming out with all these crazy, decorative signs. She makes everything from her house, and we got to support local business right now. So go look at her stuff. Anything for any certain holiday, she can make it, and she customizes everything personal for you. You want your name on it? Go visit it. Handmade by Haley on Facebook today. That tequila's got my tongue feeling a little weird. It's either that or that, and it's so good.
I knew I was doing this, and I'm I'm terrible. I think I'm terrible at interviews. I've done quite a few.
No,
of
you're
them,
absolutely.
You know,
I've never talked less in my entire life on a podcast.
Oh,
this is the least amount I've ever talked, and it's so incredible because I'm just savoring the
you're
flavor.
Eating.
I know. I've never even eaten down here on my own time. Like editing, I've never. This is incredible.
No, like I said, I've done a lot of interviews, and I'm always like, oh man, I hate. The TV stuff is where I'm. What do you do with your hands? What do you do with your?
And this, you can kick your feet back.
Right? Yeah, I can make a drink. I can, but that's what I did earlier. I'm waiting for my delivery today. Tuesdays are delivery day for product, and neighbor was up there with me, and Jason was up there, and I'm like, I might have to make me a drink a little early. Just take that edge off.
Dude, I've had a couple right before you got here, and at this point, see, this is the wild thing. I mean, even though I got to meet you the other day, I've got to sit down here with hundreds of people, incredible people of a million different talents. I mean, you're the first of this talent, and I've been fascinated. People are gonna be like, Shayne finally did it. He finally did it, because I've been talking about, I roasted my pork shoulder the other day and smoked it. It turned out real well. Like, no, I was like, oh yeah, these are the seasonings I used, and no, like, it's so awesome to get to meet people, such a wide variety, and I mean. And not only are you incredibly talented, you're also a super interesting guy.
Well.
You are, and you like it, and you like yourself a cold drink.
Oh yeah. That's why I told you before last time we talked that we can do this any day, but Whiskey Wednesday. I've got some friends. I go down to their place, and that's been our thing.
For how long?
Oh. I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
There you go.
Every Wednesday, and I think we've missed maybe 3. And all that time.
I wish there was more poker games around here. Poker's like maybe COVID too, but I used to, when I was 20 to 25 years old, it was every single weekend. It was poker night. Yeah. I went into a poker night one night.
But I was euchre. I'm a little bit older than you, so we used to have the euchre.
I know
euchre nights.
Euchre real well because when I used to work at the prison, that was a big game in the prisons too. Euchre and dominoes was a big prison game.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm a high roller now. I had won a couple games of poker, and so I was like, all right, anybody playing tonight? Some guy said, I'm going to give you this number. Don't tell him. You just got to show up on the door and knock. Don't tell him who you are. Like, he'll come out and greet you. And I was
a sliding door in the bathroom behind the stall that you went through.
I literally show up in somebody's garage, and they pull a blanket aside for me to walk in. Just a bunch of potheads sitting around a table like, oh, we're just not inviting cops. And don't tell them you're a correctional officer. I was like, I don't give a shit. I stole their money, though. They were all blazed. I was right in a hot hand.
I was never poker.
And it was like
I don't
a $20 buy-in.
Face, and my last time I played poker, it was Texas Hold'em. Mm-hmm. And somehow, well, it may have been a few drinks involved.
No, yeah.
But I had a hand, kick-ass hand, big pot, and I'm like, I forgot. I thought it was just me and another guy. I forgot there was another guy on the end, and I'm like, boom!
Mm-hmm. Oh no! And he still had to bet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, God, all right, I'm done. No more poker for me. I'll stick to euchre and spades, or you know what?
Yeah, or at that point, maybe just take one last drink, look around the table for a minute.
That's easier said than done.
Oh,
I was just so happy because all night I've been getting my ass kicked. And I'm like,
it was fun.
I've got this. Oh yeah.
When you get your ass kicked, the easiest thing to do is just keep drinking more, and the pain is.
I did afterwards. Oh yeah.
You ease the pain real good.
Right.
Oh man. Oh, so Ken, how old are you?
I am 53.
53 years old. So and you're retired, and you're retired from your previous career. So
right.
Now you just have this. Man, you got smooth sailing ahead. As long as COVID gets the hell out of here, man, you all these competitions to the side. How are you going to work with competitions and the restaurant together?
You know, that's going to be the tough thing because competitions are on.
I've been thinking about that. Yeah,
and
or maybe you could do like a thing where that week you can open it up a couple days during the midweek.
Yeah, I need to. My problem right now with the barbecue is everything I do is my way that I've learned through the years.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some very good friends that competition guys that are as talented as me, and I would trust them to do what I do.
But wouldn't they be at the competitions too?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of, I'm like, I haven't got to that point. Honestly, I'm not there with the restaurant yet where I've had to hire enough people to kind of shadow me and, but even if I did, I think it would drive me nuts. Thinking, did they do this? And I started I told my wife, I started making a list of processes for each meat. The sides, they're house made, but that, you follow this recipe and you're fine. With the barbecue meats, especially the brisket and the ribs, there's things that I do that I'm like, if you miss this step, it's gonna, and is somebody gonna care as much? I'm gonna say nobody's gonna care as much as I do because it's my business.
I totally understand what you're trying to say though is it's your way. You go about this. This is your routine. This is how you make your perfect product. When I did the powerlifting, everything had to be if something was misloaded or my hand was in the wrong spot or somebody lifts me off the wrong way, I would just be no.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop. I would do it all the time, and because it was my craft.
Right.
I was every single day was powerlifting. So if anything was ever off or wrong,
you get in that routine. It's with you muscle memory. It's you don't want to
seem like a drama queen, but this is what's right.
I've had people help me out at contests and stuff like that, and I've said, okay, do this, and here's how I do it, and then I look over and I'm like, I cringe, because I'm like, that's not exactly, but I don't want to be that,
absolutely,
ass to them. And so it's just kind of like, all right, and take a deep breath.
The big thing is you're so much more passionate towards what you're doing than the way they are towards what, and that doesn't mean like
to them it's a job.
Exactly.
Really. I mean, it's a job, and honestly, this is my name on the line. It's it's my business on the line. That if one week the brisket or the ribs or I would say those two things are the pork butt, the chicken, the turkey, stuff like that is much easier to produce good product with. Brisket and ribs you've got to, I can walk into the restaurant. I put out the big meats on Friday night at 9:00. That's the pork butt and the briskets, Friday and Saturday. Well, then all the smaller meats go on at 5:30 in the morning when I get back there. Yeah. And I can pull up to the restaurant, open my door, get out, and smell the smoker, smell the meat. I'm not even in the building or out by the smoker yet, and I can tell, okay, the pork butts are almost ready to come off. I mean, you get that.
So you do a pork, like now I'm diving in for my own indulgence here. Anybody who's listening to this, I don't care if you care. How long do you do a pork butt?
They're normally on about 12 hours.
Oh, shit. At what time?
I put them on at 9:00 at night with the brisket flats because I'm separating the briskets from the point and the flats. I put them on at 9:00 at 2:50, and then I'm back there somewhere between 5 and 5:30 in the morning. And then my pork butts, because I want to get the big meats off the smoker and resting.
So pork butts, like you got 8 hours or 12 hours. Wait, where did I get lost?
About 12.
Okay, 12 hours.
Yeah, 12 total. But when I get there in the morning, the first thing I do
How big is your pork butt, man? How big is a pork butt? 12 hours. I've been cooking this shit. I've been screwing this shit up this whole time.
About 8 to 10 pounds.
Oh,
I'll tell you what it is. The secret is it's not time, it's temperature. Internal temperature of the meat.
And it's probably a bad thing that I open it up every 5 minutes to check to see how beautiful it looks.
Kinda. That's why I do them overnight. So I'm not, you know,
so you don't like mist it or anything?
No.
So
here's my thought on it. And there's a lot of people that mop, that mist, that spray. Every time you open that smoker up, you're extending the cook time. Then when you start mopping, if you're going to mop or spray, make sure it's hot.
Oh yeah,
because if somebody has a spray bottle sitting out there,
dropping the temperature that much lower.
All you're doing is you're taking that surface temperature and you're cooling it. So
I'm such an idiot.
I put I put my, like I said, the butts and briskets. I rub them about 8 o'clock at night. Put the I shouldn't say I rub them because that's another thing that I don't quite agree with. I put the rub and seasonings on them.
You massage them?
No, I don't. I play with the meat enough that I don't have to.
I got you.
So, but yeah, they're on until 5:30 in the morning, and then when my butts and briskets hit somewhere between 160 and 170, my butts I cook in pans, just because there's so much fat in a pork butt. My smoker would be just a dead mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so the pork butts are in pans. First thing in the morning I get there, I temp them. They're 170 degrees. Then I wrap them in foil and put them back in the smoker. Then I bump the temperature up. And same way with my briskets. I wrap them in butcher paper and pink paper. I wrap those. Then I bump the temperature from 250 to 275. And that's when my ribs, chicken, and turkey go on.
See, I mean, you've got everything so timed out perfectly.
It is. It has to be. I mean, the first weekend I was open, we're open at 11:30, and I'm waiting on ribs to get done. And I'm like
that gut wrenching, fluttering feeling. Like, is this? I know that feeling.
And of course,
too.
the first 3 orders that come in are like 2 racks of ribs, 2 racks of ribs. Yeah, I'm like, oh, come on,
I totally understand. And timing is everything, especially when it comes to something that you can't give somebody in your own brain. You can't give somebody that isn't perfect in your brain. How could you do that?
Yeah.
Now, okay, so now do you do... Okay, I got to get this one out first before I forget. All right. Hey, Shot 30 Podcast is always looking for extended sponsors. If you have a small business, local business, hey, get a hold of Shot 30 Podcast through Shayne, or not that one. We cut that one last week. Through Shot 30, the number 30. Shot the word 30, the number 30 at gmail.com. Man, you got me all flustered here. It's the meat, it's the Jose, it's everything going on in here. Shot 30, the number 30 at gmail.com. And just let us know or talk to us on our Facebook page, anywhere you can find us. Shot 30 Podcast. All right. Yeah, that was a rough spread, man. That was a rough spread for me. I've got so much flavor in my... I do. I really am. I'm sweating. And it's so delicious. I can't stop looking at it. Like, it just looks like the squishiest, most darkest piece of cotton candy I've ever seen in my entire life. I used to, when I was powerlifting, I would eat tips as candy pretty much.
Yeah.
Just because I was always needing fuel all the time.
Yeah.
I would eat them, pop them like it was
protein,
candy.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, there's a lot of fat on it too, which is really good for your body.
Oh yeah.
So now I was looking at your wife is a fitness fanatic now. Oh. Like we talked about it a little bit, so I just looked because anybody who I would want to be a guest, I just take a look. She's in great shape. She's killing it.
Yeah, she. How can she not be? Look at me.
You are an absolute babe.
Exactly.
And she has to earn you. Dude, we got Zeus and his pound of pork beside him here.
Yeah. No, she is. And that's, we were talking about that. It's a whole other story with her. Kind of an incredible story. Fitness and health story. She was, I guess I never seen it, when you're married to somebody, but she had gained some weight. She was uncomfortable, and she started having some health issues, and multiple doctors, and fibromyalgia and lupus, was what kept coming up. And we at one time had a handicap sticker. That's how bad it got. And everything changed because of diet and fitness. I mean, it really honestly saved her life.
I mean, it's such an awesome thing. It's such an awesome thing. I mean, first of all, I would love to have her on the show. I've already talked to you about that. It's an awesome thing that you guys trialed and aired things, and to come, to find out a way to make her better, and then her pursue those routes. Yeah. Which one was the gluten-free. Right. And I would love for her to talk about it way more in depth. Yeah. But she seems like an awesome person. And two, any woman who lets a man follow their dreams in any which way, that's a gold star in my book. My wife does the same thing for me. I say, I want to do stand-up. She goes, okay. All right, let's go. I'll drive you there. Do you need a shot on the way?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to need a few. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow I could be like, I want to start painting pictures of pigs. And she'd be like, okay, that's really weird, but I guess, all right, go ahead.
Hey.
Yeah. She's the best. And it seems like your lady is exactly the same.
Yeah, the support, even though I know when I told her about buying the restaurant, I'm sure in the back of her head, because she's been working from home since March. So she's got her office in the side room there, and that's when I busted through the door, and I'm like, hey, they're selling this restaurant. Here's how much they want, and, and I know in the back of her head, she's like, you're really as dumb as I thought you were, Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, the support's been incredible, and she's up there on the weekends with me, working the front of the house, and she likes to tell everybody that she's the HR manager, she's the front of the house manager, now she's a co-owner, now she's
riding those titles,
keeps adding to stuff, so I'm like, okay, well, if you're all that, then you also need to be back in the kitchen in the heat, and let's here, you gotta start trimming pork butts and ribs.
So, what I was just saying was, I call Timmery the IT guy, because she comes down here, the tech guy, because she comes down here and fixes every problem. But clearly, it's not true anymore.
Right.
That is not true anymore. I just fixed that.
You got it. Yeah, you got it.
But, yeah, she's always been the same thing towards, we did a lot of episodes, then she works at the prison, so it was like a really weird thing where she couldn't do the episodes anymore because they said you can't say this or you can't do that, or if he says this in front of you, well then you're liable. And I'm talking about the craziest shit. My brain is. Right. If you ever see a solo episode of Shot 30 Podcast, you're gonna be like, I'm never going back over there because I don't know where it goes. But I did want to tell you. So the last time I had been in your restaurant before you owned it was
you told me you had a story,
and I was
like, as long as it's not haunted, I don't care. So I'm up there late at night.
So what happened was we showed up for breakfast and the place was packed, and it was when it was Luby's, and there was an older woman working, and no one else showed up to work. So it was just her, and she was telling us that her husband had a stroke. Is that correct? Luby's the owners, or maybe it was the one before or after.
It had to be Ricky's.
It was Ricky's. Yep. Yes, because he had a stroke.
Yep.
And the woman told me, I have nobody else here. And I was like, I don't know if this is violations, but she doesn't own the restaurant anymore, so I'm going to tell this story. And I went, well, I'll help you out. And so I get up. Timber's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I'm just going to start pouring coffee and stuff. Right. So I start walking around, how are you doing today, sir? And I put an apron on, and then I start really playing the roll up. And then it was eggs time. And she was still working with it. I was like, I could make some eggs, I think. So I'm in the bag flipping eggs and chopping them out. I don't know what I'm doing. Scrambled eggs is like, doesn't it have milk and salsa? And like, I'm bringing plates out. These guys are like, this is not what I expected for a quick breakfast today. And I mean, it went almost, I got tips. The woman, okay, so I gave all the tips back to the woman, and then I sat back at the table. Still didn't have coffee in my cup, and I was like telling Timmy, I was like, I hope I don't have to pay for this breakfast. I had to pay for my damn breakfast. I was so devastated. I was like, I'm never going back until it's a meat championship.
There you go. Oh, that's funny.
And there was some old man too. He's like, don't worry, sir. I'll pour the coffee for you. And so that's when I started doing eggs. This other old, he was probably 85-ish, older man. He was walking around pouring coffee.
They're the ones
for
that come in there and sit in the morning and drink coffee for 3 hours. You know.
So they took over for me. And Timry, that's my wife. She's just sitting there like, I can't believe this is all happening right now. I was like, would you like any toast? She's like, I'll wait to eat breakfast with you. And then we had to pay.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one there.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories of all time. First time I've ever told it on the podcast, though.
Yeah. I was worried when you said that the other day about, well, I've got a story, but I'm not going to tell. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. What, you know?
No, nothing horrific. I don't know who those employees were, but I hope they never got a job again. Oh, they left that poor woman. She was a super sweetheart. That woman who was there. Yeah. But they left her out to dry.
And that's my worst fear right now, especially only being a month into this or 4 weeks into it being open. I've got some really great people hired. Mm-hmm. There's, one of them works at the local bar down here. Part-time. She's helping out. I got another gal that I hired from a guy that I knew. And then my family and friends have been incredible for helping out. I mean, I've got 2 kids. I don't even want to tell their age. 27 and 24, I guess. And Bailey and Burke. They've been coming out. My daughter's a surgical tech, and she's on call quite a bit, but whenever she's not, she's coming out. My son,
she goes from surgical tech to
right, yeah. So you know what, she can help me out when I end up slicing my hand open or whatever, And my son, he Mississippi Laser out of Stockton, Iowa, out by Walcott.
Okay, yeah.
He's the head of the welding department out there. So
dang.
He's got a full-time job, although they're working 4/10s. So it's like, you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come on out to the restaurant.
You guys don't have a life.
Exactly.
Come on, join the party.
So they have been, the family's been awesome for helping out. And my friends with Whiskey Wednesday, Glenn and CJ, same way. They show up, help out, and it's just been, honestly, overwhelming. I mean, catering is so easy because somebody calls me and says, hey, we're having a party for 200 people. We want this, 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 this. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know exactly how much food to cook.
How long it'll take and how to put it together.
And it's either a drop-off or I've got to hire some people to work the catering deal to help serve. Now you can't right now because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But, it's been catering just... The restaurant business is so incredibly different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Product-wise, how much do you cook? You don't want to... Because that's one thing I want to say. I will not reheat and reserve barbecue.
Uh-huh.
It's fresh. I mean, it's made that day. I don't even... at home, if I have leftover whatever, pulled pork, or I don't like it. I want it... so there's...
I'll take your leftovers.
Okay,
if that's what you're offering me right now, I'll do it. I guess.
And that's the big thing when people get upset because you're sold out. I am increasing product every week. Mm-hmm. I mean, I am I'm cooking this week an extra case of ribs, extra briskets, chicken and pulled chicken, pulled pork. I don't have much trouble with, but it's the ribs and brisket that I seem to sell out of, no matter how much I cook. And I thank everybody. I mean, I can't thank the people enough that have helped me out here and supported me. But I will not reheat.
You just can't break. You can't. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. You can't break what you think is right.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, because it's your name on it.
Oh, exactly. 2 weeks ago, I had a buddy of mine that had a restaurant told me, you've got to try this brand of ribs. And I'm like, well, I trusted him because, I mean, that's what he used in his restaurant. So I thought, all right. So I bought 4 cases of these ribs. 2 weeks ago, I put them on at 5:30 in the morning. They're normally off and getting ready to, be held until serve at 11:30. I check them at 11, and they were still like not even close. I ended up killing ribs for the weekend because I wasn't, number one, I wasn't going to turn out something that,
it wasn't your product anymore.
Right.
At that point, it's not when you work by repetition, it does not work like that.
Yeah. And at 11:30, I went out and checked them again. That's when we're opening. At noon, my wife was working the front, and I told her, I said, and we already had 15 racks sold. And I told her, I said, I'm killing ribs. What? I said, I'm killing ribs. I can't. I mean,
it's a gut-wrenching call.
If I turn them out, and I've been told by several people that just because of what you think is your quality of rib,
but other people would still like it.
Yeah. But I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
I had 48 racks of ribs that, well, no, more than that. 28, I had 56. 28 racks Saturday went in my dumpster. Oh yeah, I'm like, they are not getting out to anybody, And then Sunday, I just said no ribs on the menu, and those are still in a garbage bag in my freezer, in my big freezer at the restaurant, waiting to see if the company wants them back.
Yeah.
Because even once they did get to where they were fairly tender, I tried one, and they tasted like biting into a piece of cardboard, and I'm like, I'm not doing it.
I understand. I totally understand. It's a wild thing. But it also is your profession. I mean, and it's your craft, and you're a master at it for a reason. There's a reason why people are flocking to come. It is not to have something that you don't think is 100%. Yeah. So when you give something to somebody, you need it to be 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that one person, if they're the best ribs in the world they've ever had, they might, like the old saying goes, they might tell 1 or 2 people. If they're horrible, they're going to tell everybody. 50 people.
Yeah, nobody rushes to leave a review on Shot 30 Podcast when it's the greatest podcast in the world. Right. But if they think this shit sucks, they're going to go let everybody know right away. Oh, yep, the fat guy talking with the beard. Yep, he sucks. Like, I mean, right away, the positive to the negative that we get, we do all these comedy skits, the negative that we get is overwhelming in the comment box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, I even had a couple people say, well, just give us the ribs if that he doesn't think are good. I'm sure they're fine. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I mean, I could have sold, 56 racks of ribs that weekend in 2 days, and, you're going to make the money. And it hurt me. I mean, it really did hurt. I mean,
but also lesson learned. Everything you do is lesson learned with stuff. People don't realize a lot of the things people do for perfection costs a lot of money to get to perfection.
I can't think of. I couldn't even put a price on the amount of. I would say my specialty, or what I'm most proud of, is my brisket. And I can't tell you how many briskets I've cooked and practiced with and tried and failed with different rubs, different seasonings, to get to where I'm at right now. And what I serve now, the burn ends aren't, like a Texas style brisket. They're a Kansas City style burn end. They're sweet.
A magic.
A magic. But my sliced brisket is a Texas style brisket. Very simple seasoning. It's kosher salt, coarse ground black pepper, little bit of garlic powder, and the seasoning's very simple. The cooking of it and knowing
that's what I was gonna say,
where it's at and when it's ready, because a brisket flat, there's some of them that are ready at 190 degrees. There's some of them that you have to take to 210 degrees.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, a lot of restaurants go, okay, 200 degrees, pull it off. I've had brisket that if I pulled them off at 200, it'd be like eating a piece of shoe leather.
Yeah.
But they're looking at quantity. They're not, they're not trying to quality-wise so much. They thought, well, if we can make 48 people out of, 60 or 80 happy, we're good. I'm not like that.
Ken, I feel like this is one of my favorite podcasts of all time, and I feel like we should do an episode like at least once every 5 o'clock at night.
Hey, I'm game. I'll keep bringing food.
That's the
next
reason
time will
why.
be ribs or
I know my wife's sitting upstairs right now. She's like, why the hell is he still not upstairs with that
Can
goddamn
she see
food?
you on this?
Oh, no, not
okay.
We
I was
don't.
gonna say she's gonna be.
We don't
watching
do live
you eat
because
these burn ends.
No, when I walk upstairs, she's gonna know I ate. But Ken,
because it's all in your beard.
It is. I've been trying. That's why I knew if there was a chance you were bringing food, I brought down two.
Well, you wait because you go up there. That bag of pulled pork I brought, that's probably gone.
Oh, it better not be. Nope, it will not be. Ken, I want you to don't touch the top of this.
Okay.
But could you ever make anything taste good with that? Smell it. Could you ever make something taste good with the bomb? He's smelling the bomb beyond insanity. This is a hot sauce this is actually 700 or 650,000 Scoville units. It is one of the most putrid, disgusting tasting hot sauces I've ever tasted. And
it stings the nostrils.
Oh, it does.
Quote Anchorman.
If you want to do a little tap on your finger, just
I honestly would. Shake it up a little bit.
I will. Just don't do too big of a tap.
No.
This one is one of the worst we've done. So me and my buddy Joe, I don't know why we led down this rabbit hole, but we've tried the Packy One Chip Challenge. That's the worst thing I've ever tasted, and it's the new version. And we ate the whole thing. That was the worst I've ever been. I thought I had to go to the emergency room. The Carolina Reaper, we got one from the hottest farm. We got one sent from the hottest farm in America, and we both ate that. That was bad, but it was... it was not that bad. We tried the world's hottest gumball. That's right there.
Yeah.
I think we have bags of peppers right back there somewhere. Because we just like people started sending us hot shit that they thought we should try.
Oh, everybody, yeah.
And then bugs. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Ooh, here, let's pop this. Okay. Let's do this. I want to get you fresh from the bottom. So while I'm doing this, hey, yeah, because we got a little oh yeah, there we go. Oh my God, Ken, I literally just tightened up looking at myself doing that.
So you've tried this stuff?
I've tried this a bunch of times.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've tried this on. We've done everything we've done a million food challenges, just trying everything. But we did one the other day. We did something called Hot Spins a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
I've got that game in my trailer. I wanted it at something, and it's got all different bottles of stuff. Have you seen that?
No,
I'll bring it to you.
No
it's
way.
Yours. Oh, it's yours.
Okay, we'll do it for 2.0. I mean, this is one of the greatest podcasts. Okay, so here you go. Just do a tap, that's all fresh on the top. Just a tap. And then, yeah, this will not be that bad. You're going to need a little bit of drink. It's
burning the finger already.
It's not burning your finger. Mad Dog 357 and Da Bomb Beyond Insanity are the two hottest hot sauces I've ever come across in my entire life. Mad Dog's upstairs. Mad Dog is like, you put it on your tongue and instantly your tongue is decaying away. Yeah. It's instant tongue cancer. It just goes straight like...
Oh, it goes right. I mean, you get that right. You don't even get the flavor. You just get, it's going to...
Oh, I'm actually fascinated about this because you know so much about flavor and spices. So you can describe it better than I can when I go, oh, it's hot.
And everybody says like habaneros and Scotch bonnets.
Oh, look at the nose scratch.
That wasn't actually. That was actually an itch. It's not there yet, but it's getting there. They say, oh, you taste a fruity flavor first. And, yeah, I don't know if you really do.
I understand that, yeah.
But, yeah, this is definitely, it's miserable.
It's an excruciating pain, and the thing is, it just lingers on. It does it.
Feel it go across your tongue.
To your senses. Like, right behind your nose.
Yeah.
Where it hits your eyes. I can see it in your eyes right now.
I didn't realize that I had this much saliva in my mouth right now. I mean, because you do. You just start like... it's like, oh my God, your mouth just starts producing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can feel it in the eyes. And that was a little tap.
That's a tap. Yeah, we did a full droplet, and a drop like a group. And I mean, it was just, what have we done? What have we done here?
It's not, because right now I'm leveling out.
Mm-hmm. I can see it in your eyes too. Your eyes,
like you said, a little tap on there. I'm leveling out. It's not getting any hotter.
But there's no flavor. There's never going to be flavor to that.
It's just pepper.
I've had incredible hot sauces. That is not. That is just not.
It's kind of weird because I right in the middle of the tongue, and it started like, okay, this ain't, and then all of a sudden you could feel it run front to back, side to side. You just feel your tongue just getting, there it goes. Yeah, a little water in the eyes here. Yeah,
it's simmering. Oh, we dropped a tear. Do not put that finger.
No, this was this one. Okay, that was No, this is the pinky one. This is one to wipe tears with. Yeah,
you just scared me for a second.
Oh no! You'd have seen me grabbing Groot or something running out the door. Damn. Yeah,
Groot says, "Leave me here."
Honestly, unless to do something with that. You know what? Maybe a drop or two in chili if you wanted to.
That's the only thing that anybody's ever agreed on who's tried it.
It'd have to be put into something just to add heat.
But but
there's no flavor.
Like, are you telling me a pot of chili, 2 drops of this? Like, how would it make it better? It's not going to make it better. If you want to make it hotter, there's other things you could put in there. Not make
that have flavor.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's just for people that have nothing better to do than
like me.
Hurt themselves.
Yeah, like me.
What's that? What do they say that's on the Scoville unit?
That's 650,000 Scoville units. So I can tell you that one. Wait, no, Mad Dog 3. That's Mad Dog 350. No. Okay, that's Da Bomb. That's 650,000. Yeah, 650,000 Scoville units. The Carolina Reaper that me and my buddy Joe ate was 6 million Scoville units. Oh, but it didn't compare to that.
Really?
It doesn't compare to a full drop of that. And it didn't compare to the chip. The Scoville units is a measure of hotness, not flavor that... If I have some sort of flavor, I can make do with it. Like, the Packy... It tasted like tar dipped in sand. That's what I tasted when I tried it. When you see the clip, if you go back and watch the clip, don't watch it. Don't watch it around young children because that video is heavily cursed.
I've watched a bunch of those Packy challenges.
These were the new ones. These were the new ones, which they took it up way too high.
Really,
way too high. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, Yeah, I like heat, but
Yeah. You think
heat with flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a huge difference people don't realize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
Ken, I think this is probably, number 2 longest podcast will never beat number 1 because we'd be here all night. We had a 3-hour podcast at one point. This is the second longest podcast I've ever done, and I feel like I can keep going. I definitely want to have you back on.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff I love.
We haven't even touched into your life. We haven't even touched into beyond life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your wife will be on the show too. I would love to have her on. I gotta wrap up. This is Shot 30 Podcast. I'm Shayne Neubert. That's Ken Versluis. Hey, go visit Bone Collector, Viola, Illinois. Put your orders in early because if you want to show up, you're not going to show up at the door and get your stuff. And all I want is smoked mac and cheese.
Got it.
Got it.
I meant to bring you some today, and I gave it to Jason because his son, he took some home over the weekend, and his kid wanted it for breakfast
Dom
today.
walks past my house every day.
Yeah.
I'm going to spitball him every single day now. That boy's in trouble.
Well, he's got a whole tray of it, and then I'm like, oh, man, I gave it all to Jason because I was going to bring you some.
No way. Smoked mac and cheese is absolutely my favorite side on a barbecue.
And this is a jalapeno popper mac and cheese, so it's got the bacon,
with the bomb beyond insanity in it?
Oh, well, I'll make yours.
No. We don't need to do any of that. This is Shot 30 Podcast. Shot 30 Podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox. Also, if you're just listening on the apps, go ahead and watch on YouTube. This is Shot 30 Podcast. Go visit Bone Collector, Viola, Illinois. I mean, I can't describe to you what I just was tasting. Like, I can't. And there's more upstairs, so that's why I'm leaving. Ken, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome.
Thank you.
We need to drink a little bit more before we leave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.